So far, we've been building our web pages and we've learned how to put quite a bit into them. We can do headings of different sizes and we can format the text any we want. And then we put in things like horizontal lines and we've put in images and even links to other pages, and that's cool. But let's face it, we can write as much content as long as it's all willing to come in one long sequential series with everything coming after the next thing right down the page. Well, let's face it, web pages don't always look that way. Most of the time, we'll look at a web page and sure, there'll be a header and subheaders and some text, but then you might see some images that go in different places on the center and the right side of the page. There might be big lines of links and text and footer information and menus across the top. And how is it that they get the stuff to live side by side? We've not learned that yet. Well, that's what we're going to start working on today. Well, web designers use something called tables to get this done. No, guys, I didn't mean that kind of table. The table I'm actually talking about is something called a data table. And that's where you have information in boxes side by side, rows and columns, like it would be in a spreadsheet or in a table in a publication of some sort. So what's happening is when a computer sees data like this, it's actually receiving code to set up boundaries of rows and columns. And then the last thing it does after it sets it up in rows and columns is it says, okay, don't show me the lines. Just pay attention as if they were there and make them invisible. Now, what's cool about tables is you can put anything inside of a table that you would already put on the page. So it's perfectly okay to put a link within a table cell or to add in images at different points. And here you are. You have the incandescent, fluorescent, and LED titles with the images on either side of them. And because the computer is obeying the boundaries, but not necessarily drawing the lines, you have a situation where things can sit beside each other inside of a web page. Now, it's important to understand how the browser builds tables. And the order to remember is left to right, down a row, then left to right again. And that'll go on as far as you code it. So in this case, I'm going to build a table 2 columns wide and 3 rows deep. So you'll see the first box, then the second, then down a row, then left to right again, down a row again. Of course, we're doing all of this with tags. So whatever goes inside those tags is what's going to go inside the table. In this case, I put a couple of column headers, then a couple of teams and their team colors. You'll build your table however you like. So let's take a look at what are the table codes. So now just make sure that you've got your browser window open and that you've opened one of your pages. I'm going to use my favorites as an example, but you open just one of your pages in your browser. And make sure that they're set up side by side, so as you edit the text edit page, the original HTML page, you can then refresh it and load it in your browser to see how it looks. And I suggest you pause the video to set this up. As an example, I'm going to set up a small table of favorite teams and their colors. And the first thing I want to do is put in the table tags, and that's an open and close tag wherever I want that table to begin and end. So I put in table and then /table. The next thing I'm going to do is establish the first row with a TR tag, and I'm going to open and close that. The next I'm going to use is a special tag called TH. This is going to establish the header blocks for my columns. In other words, the titles, team and team colors. And I'm going to continue adding rows with the TR tags, and then after each TR tag, I'm going to use the TD tag for table data. That's what's going to go in the boxes underneath the header. I'll do a row for the Mets in blue and orange, and then I'll do another row for the Giants and blue and white. So you may want to pause the video for a minute just to get this code down, but realize that the header rows are the column titles at the very beginning. And these next 2 sections are your data rows. Those are the stuff inside your table. So that's a fair amount of code we just put together. So take a minute now, pause the video, and get this coded into your HTML page. Now, once this renders, you will probably see a table cramped over to the left side, and it has your headers, and usually that'll be coming in bold, followed by the contents of your table. I gave you a model, but you certainly can replace it with your own items. Now, what happens if I want to add a third column to this? Well, all I need to do is add something underneath each one of these rows, and it will add a third column. So under the table row where the headers are, I'm going to add something called stadium. Then under each of the following rows, I'm going to add the stadiums for each of the teams, Citi Field for the Mets and MetLife for the Giants. Now, when you render your page, it should show you the first two columns, and it should also add the third with the stadiums on it. So here is your challenge. You're going to build a 3-column table of your favorites. Make sure that it's at least 3 rows deep, and make sure that you've got some kind of a style element in there since you're so good at styles. And if you need any further help, remember you can always check at W3 Schools as well. Good luck and have fun. And as always, thanks for watching.